Welcome back to Blackwood USA, another quick suite of products that we want to talk about. And one of my favorite ways of cooking, it's not so much about all the products that we sell, but it's one of the ways that I really enjoy cooking. This terracotta stove here is a stove that we sell. It's one of our quick cookers. But also you'll notice I've got some pine cones in there. I'm a fan of pine cones for starters. If you're in an area where you haven't got good kindling to use, pine cones when they're dry are very, very good, and they don't actually contain resin, so they're going to burn fairly clean. Let me show you what I like to do. This is a favorite pastime of mine, is backyard cooking, and I like to do it primitive style. I've just put a couple of our Quick Wicks starters in here. That's the wooden wool, the clean burning Quick Wick starter. And one of my favorite charcoals is coconut shell charcoal. You don't see much of it. It is fabulous. The reason it's so good is very, very high carbon content. So when you light it, it doesn't spark and splatter. And also it gets hot very, very quickly. And it holds heat and is very, very even. And so it's one of my favorite quick cook charcoals. But all I do is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to light my primitive, and I very often use clay pot cooking cast iron or clay pots, and it is so simple. All I'm going to do is I take my charcoal. We pre-package this coconut shell charcoal in 1 pound and 2 pound packs, tip it on the top of the fire. Now there's about, I would say, a half a pound of charcoal in there. This setup that I've got here is good for cooking for about an hour. So with my clay pots, if I'm cooking rice or doing a stew in a clay pot that's going to sit on here, what I do is I light my fire, get it going. Before we get too much heat, I set my clay pot on that's already been soaked, and then we allow it to warm through gently and bring it up to temperature and bring it up to boil to cook whatever you're cooking. But keep watching. I'm going to just light my Quick Wick. You see how quickly that lit. Light another one here, and that's going too. And so now we have ignition and my fire is set. I usually set on my clay pot cooker and walk away and then come back in 40 minutes to check on it. But just zoom in on the fire a little bit if you would. That's all we need to do. The Quick Wicks are going to light the pine cones that I've got in there. Then the pine cones are going to get the charcoal going. You probably can't hear it, but I can hear the little clinkering noise from the charcoal as that's trying to ignite too. So you don't need this much pine cone, but just out of habit, I just cover the bottom of the cooker with it. You see we're getting some smoke here. This smoke is coming from the pine cones. It's not coming from the charcoal. That charcoal will burn purely clean, very pure, very clean. That's a little bit of smoke we get from the pine cones. But you can see the Quick Wick fire starter has got it fired up right away. So have you still zoomed in on this? So you can see 2 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes, and we have a very, very nice fire. If you want to break away, we'll come back and show you it in a few minutes' time. Welcome back. We're back to the coconut charcoal demonstration that we started a few moments ago. Actually, it's 6 minutes ago. When we last broke away, we were 2 minutes into the startup. Now, 4 minutes later, we're now between the 6-7 minute mark. And you can see what I was saying before is how quick we have a fire and how quick we have heat. So had I been cooking on this, my clay pot would have been sitting on the top of the terracotta stove. The performance of this terracotta stove actually is incredible because this thick wall is all insulation. So that little bit of fuel that we put in this fire is all directed directly onto the cook or up to the cooking area, and the heat is tremendous. You can be cooking anything on this. It is in fact a little bit hot maybe right now for clay pot, but if you wanted to do a steak or anything or burgers, it's ready to go, or just boiling water if you're camping. But you can see most of the charcoal is ignited. Most of the pine cone is finished burning. That's our starter, and then we got a little bit of smoke. But it's really, really quick, really, really efficient, and we don't need to make hard work of cooking outdoors anymore. It really is easy. So with the quick suite of products, coconut shell charcoal, what I affectionately call my primitive stove, we can have a lot of fun in the backyard without too much effort. Thank you for tuning in to Blackwood USA. Cheerio.